Now hey guys, welcome back to the channel, and a little bit of a more interesting video, I guess. Yeah, so the plane that we have right in front of us is the Antonov An-700. And you might wonder, in real life we only have the Antonov An-225, which by the way is the biggest plane in existence, and that is true. But this, what we have right in front of us, is not the An-225, it's the actual An-700. What that means is that it is super big. That's what she said. Yeah. I don't know, this is a concept plane. This is actually supposed to be a super tanker. So what this plane can do is actually put out large fire. Let's care about that later on. Let's first of all care about actually getting off into the air, because this plane actually weighs, guess what, 1,600 tons. Yes, that is 1,000,000 kilograms and 666,000. That would be 3.66 million pounds of weight. This is kind of like a large building, I guess. Not that heavy, but you know, this is still quite a majestic plane, I would say. Let's try getting that off into the air. Now this plane actually has 6 GE90 engines that we can actually see in the 777s. I think these are actually the new GE9X that we can see in the 777X, and these are super duper strong, which is why the 777 only needs 2 of these. This plane is a little, you know, on the bigger side, so it has 6. All right. Oh, we hit the mountain. That's how large this plane is. Oh my god, we cannot even fit on this runway, and we are falling down to death. Oh my goodness. All right. Yeah, this plane is actually required to have at least a 3,000 meter long runway, which is 10,000 feet. That is not 3,000 meters. That was 1,200 meters, which is quite a difference. This is a little bit ridiculous. I mean, just one of those planes is probably enough to get rid of all the wildfires that we have all around the world, pretty much. Just one load and that'll be enough. But yeah, we do have to get off the ground first. That's quite a challenge, apparently. All right, now welcome to Nice Airport in the south of France. This is actually still not a 10,000 feet long runway, but that's another story. I think we'll make it. Looking good. Let's just go full power and see how this plane takes off. Now, just a little disclaimer, of course, this plane does not exist in real life. Or maybe we can say not yet. Never mind, it's never going to be a thing, of course. I mean, just look at this. This is quite ridiculous. So yeah, this is quite a large plane, and we're looking good. We have almost now used the whole runway. We are actually getting very close to the edge, but there we go. We have taken off, and we are flying just fine. And, you know, we have reached such a size of airplane that even at like 200 knots, it doesn't really look like the aircraft is flying at a very fast speed, does it? This looks very bizarre. It looks like the plane is flying at slow-mo. Meanwhile, we're actually clocking 200 knots, which is pretty cool. Now, what can we do? Oh, that was the wrong button. Yeah, this is the fire retardant. That's what it's called. This is actually used to put out fires in real life, but obviously in planes that are a lot smaller, like the C-130, we've actually used that kind of fire retardant in a video before, back when there were some fires in California. I mean, there are always fires there, but I think that was last year, sometime around that. And yeah, we used a plane like this to put these fires out. Now here in the paper it says that this plane can carry up to 760 tons of fire retardant, which is quite a lot. That's like over 200,000 gallons and 2,000 gallons of fire retardant per second for 100 seconds. That was just a lot of numbers, I guess. But let me just tell you that fire retardant discharge rate, that's what it's called, is very high. That's enough to put out a lot of fire. Let me just say that. But this was that's kind of cool. Really, you can lay down a 10-kilometer long fire retardant barrier in a burning forest or something that can actually genuinely stop a raging wildfire. This is actually pretty cool. So yeah, that is the fire retardant version of this plane. There's also some other versions. There's also the passenger version that the developer of this plane thought of. All right, welcome aboard the Antonov 700 in the passenger variant. Now, currently the plane that can carry the most passengers on this planet is the A380 at like around 800 in a standard configuration. That is like the very maximum that that plane can carry. This plane is a little bit more. It's not 1,000, it's not 2,000, it's actually 3,000. Yeah, that's how much this plane can carry in situations like an emergency evacuation. 3,000 passengers can actually be taken with this plane, plus 400 tons of medical supplies. That is very much interesting. Something I want to do now is actually land this plane. How does a plane like this land? Surprisingly enough, it is quite a responsive plane. It flies all right. It's not much worse than something like a 777 that is already pretty unresponsive, but honestly, this is not too bad. It could definitely be worse. All right, let's get this plane landed now.
1000.
Oh yeah, we have Russian callouts. Obviously, this plane is an Antonov, so it's it's not Russian, but Ukrainian, but I think they have the same language, right? I'm not quite sure though. It doesn't matter. Let's just land this plane. Okay, perfect. Let's get the reverse thrusters going as well. And there we go. We are stopping just fine in a plane that can carry up to 3,000 people and 400 tons of medical supplies. Very interesting one. That landing was really messed up, honestly. I don't know, for some reason the plane didn't want to come down, which it did eventually, so that's fine. Look at how many wheels these are, by the way. And by the way, for size reference, I think one wheel is like as large as a human, right? That actually would make sense. Let's compare the size of this plane to some other planes to really, you know, show how big this really is. All right, maybe let's get something like a 737, just a normal 737-800. All right. Okay, so we have a 737 spawned right next to us, as you can see right here. My goodness. Yeah, the 737 is obviously not a small passenger plane. Jesus Christ. I mean, these airplane windows, they are probably pretty off here in our Antonov. I mean, honestly, the person is probably as big as these windows. This is pretty ridiculous. Let's maybe get a 747 in here, and the 737 is not doing so well. Actually, an AI is controlling this plane right now, and it's gone. Very much sad. Let's get a 747 right next to us, which is obviously way bigger. The Queen of the Skies. Let's see if the Queen of the Skies can be beaten by an Antonov. Oh yeah. This is pretty ridiculous, huh? It's interesting how a thing like that can actually fly. It could actually fly in real life. We could actually build a plane that is that big in real life. Well, here the developer of this concept plane has some more size comparison examples. Here we got a 747, for example, a 777, an A350, and the normal An-225 from Antonov. And here we got the crazy 700. Yeah, it flies though. Here's another interesting one. Take a look at just 1,000 gallons in the video. That is 1,000 gallons of water. Imagine that times 200. Yeah, this plane's wingspan is, by the way, 142 meters. Right now, the plane with the highest wingspan is the Strato launch, which we have also talked about. It's a pretty interesting plane as well. That one has 117 meters, but only because it has a very interestingly shaped wing. The aircraft itself is not that big. All right, let's maybe do some more short runway testing, I guess. Here we go. We are approaching La Mole, which is also in the south of France. We have been at this airport before. Let's see how long of a runway this plane actually needs for a landing. As a passenger plane is crazy as well, but it would kind of be cool, right? Well, no way this is gonna work, obviously. Yeah, this plane, it's like half as long as the runway itself, isn't it? I mean, you know, this runway is not even that short. We have even landed something like a 737 on here before. Very sad that this didn't work, but yeah, that's it. So yeah, it's kind of sad that, of course, the Antonov An-700 is never going to be a thing, of course, but it would kind of be cool, and it would make sense to build this plane, even though you probably cannot make money with it. That's probably the problem here. So yeah, guys, thank you for watching today's video, and I'll see you tomorrow. As always, good night.